Yo, what's up everybody? It's your boy the Kryptonian saying here, bringing you a review for One Piece chapter 83. Now, this cover story deals with Kobe, and the thing about Kobe is I'm watching Kobe and he's cleaning, the Navy ship with that snot-nosed brat that I can't fucking stand. But the thing on it is I'm watching that, or rather I'm reading that, and I'm remembering Kobe, and I'm just reading this fight, and I'm going, God damn, Kobe would have been a liability if he was here. I just want to show you guys something, because we know, like, Luffy versus Arlong, like, this shit's gonna get crazy, right? But if you look, Kobe, he's hard at work. Don't get me wrong, he's hard at work, he's sweating, but that's a look of determination. He's doing what he wants. You have to respect that, because being in the Navy, it was his dream, but that's not the face of somebody who belongs out there on the battlefield. And it just really struck me, like, Luffy had enough foresight to say, kid, you can't follow us. That's really impressive to me. That's really impressive. And it makes sense, too, because, Luffy's been handpicking his crew. And I think if Kobe hadn't told him his dream, he would have kept him around. But it's probably best he's not there, because he definitely would have gotten in the way. It's kind of like that story I told on the Hunter x Hunter review, Mastered Nin. But I said in that review, like, sometimes you have to just jump in the deep end. I told a story about how I had jumped off the diving board and almost drowned, right? Didn't know how to swim, but I eventually learned how to swim. I just had to experience that. And I said to say, I think if Kobe would have been around, Kobe would have gotten killed by now. And that's going to be my chapter question, you guys. Usually I ask one relating directly to the chapter. I'm going to ask one regarding the cover story. If Kobe would have followed Luffy, do you think that he would have made it this far? Or do you think that he would have made it through the end of this fight? I think that Kobe would have gotten killed. That's just my thoughts. And I think that he would have gotten his ass killed during the Surrey Village arc, when they were dealing with Captain Kuro. I think that's when he would have gone down. Now, let's just backtrack, a little. Well, not backtrack. Let's put this bitch in first gear, right? I drive a Mustang stick shift, so I had it neutral for a little bit. We sitting idle, and let's just get this baby going. So the way this chapter opens up, man, Luffy impressed the hell out of me when he plants his feet and uses the gum windmill, but unfortunately he's stuck in fucking cement, like the concrete, whatever you want to call it, like the floor. He's stuck there. And it makes for some hilarious moments when Usopp's trying to drag him, and Usopp actually uses Luffy as a weapon, which is very fitting, because Luffy was used like a slingshot and Usopp uses a slingshot. And just a connection on that, because Usopp's father was a marksman. Luffy hits the mark. I mean, Luffy's like the go-between between Usopp and his father. Just little things like that. I don't know if it's done intentionally, and I don't know if I'm reading too much into it. I know you guys said with One Piece you can't read too much into stuff, but just seeing that little sequence of events, midway through the chapter, really nice. But here's what I thought was pretty fucking funny. Sanji says right here, octopus should be boiled in salt water, sliced and seasoned with olive oil, and it's great with booze. Like right there, like the cook in him never stops, And this is what I really liked about that is Hachi is getting ready to prepare, like the ink blast and everything that's gonna blind Luffy, and the whole time Sanji's thinking, I would like to cook this dude. Like, that's just, I like that. And I'm a big Star Wars fan, and I don't know if you guys know this, but in the original trilogy and Return of the Jedi, those little small, I can't think of the names, Ewoks, I think that's what they were. It was implied that they actually cooked the fucking stormtroopers at the end of the at the end of the movie. You know, it got taken out of like the special editions and shit, and I think it got cut from the original. But if you read in between the lines, because you know the Ewoks were going to cook Chewbacca and Luke and all that. So anyway, man, Sanji doing that, it just made me think of that, man. But the other thing about this chapter is Luffy, while he's blinded, Sanji again, just that bond between the two. He has to step in and kind of protect Luffy. And right there, it goes back to what you guys told me. You know, you said everybody in the crew values the next person in the crew. And we see right here, Sanji saying, look, but hey, compared to woman-hating crap pirates, he's not so bad. And right there, you see Usopp trying to help Luffy out. And, you know, Zoro's kind of just watching. I think Zoro understands, like, Luffy's got this shit. He's in a bind. But at the end of the day, this kid's going to figure it out. You know, that's like, Zoro's almost like the big brother over everybody, you know. But watching the two newest members of the crew doing their all to help Luffy, like I said, it just speaks volumes. Like, you guys told me this, and then after you pointed it out, I'm starting to see it. Just really remarkable shit going on here. And while it was funny to watch Luffy, you know, kind of throwing punches at Arlong, and even though he's stuck, and Usopp kind of running, and the Usopp factor, I can't wait to see that animated, because there's this one part where Genzo and the rest of the villagers, like, wasn't he that guy that stood up to Arlong earlier? You know, is he really worth it? You know, can he really take down these fishmen? And even, you know, Jiko says it herself, like, when she's thinking, she has an internal monologue, she says, well, can a guy like this really fight, you know, against the fishmen? So I thought just that little bit right there, really enjoyed it. But the other thing on this is when you pay close attention to how Arlong is treating Luffy, he's just like, okay, you messed up. You showed us that you have the devil fruit. You know, people with the devil fruit, they can't swim. And so we have a very, I call it an impressive stream feat, but at the same time, you know that it's not too impressive, because this dude flipped a house over and, you know, destroyed whole villages. So you know that, you know, Arlong has more power to him than that. But he just rips Luffy straight out the ground. And right there, he's saying people who've eaten the devil fruit can't swim. Of course, in your condition, you sink anyway. And, you know, Luffy being the imbecile that he is, and I guess I shouldn't call him an imbecile because he doesn't really have a choice. But, you know, he attempts to kind of fight back. And right there, I remember one of you guys saying, like, hey, you should pay attention to the teeth, because, you know, that dude's teeth are going to come back into play. Well, right there, you know, he ends up, you know, biting him, and then Luffy, just being the typical shonen protagonist, does the unorthodox thing. He ends up biting him as well. Just, you know, real quick, I'm gonna have to finish this up. Basically, Luffy gets thrown into the water, and that's when Sanji and Zoro, they both decide, hey, you know what? We can't jump in here to save this dude. You know, Luffy's gonna have to figure this shit out on his own, because if we jump in, we're gonna be doing whatever they want. And what I'm thinking, given how strong they are, I'm thinking that maybe, well, I don't know, because now I'm thinking about the layout of that place. I thought maybe they're gonna kind of plug the opening to where they can't just go back up, you know, rip off part of the building, just drop it over top of it. But I don't think that's it. But basically, Luffy might drown down there because he's the main character, and because I have the series up to volume 19 right now, because I'm that far ahead. I know Luffy lives, but I'm wondering how he's going to get out of this situation. But the other thing is it looks like it's going to be a 2-on-2 tag team kind of event coming up, Sanji and Zoro. And I'm really interested to see how the teamwork works, because I know some of you guys were like, oh, you know, you got Sanji and Zoro fanboys that kind of go at it, you know, I hope you're not one or the other. So this would be, you know, kind of cool right here. This is kind of like a precursor to all of that. But that's it for this review. As always, if you liked anything I had to say, make sure you comment, rate, subscribe, share. Greatly appreciate it. That's it. Thanks for watching Kryptonian Saying.
灰色の人